I can assure you all of this. President Trump and our entire administration will continue to take strong action to make our schools safe. And we'll pray for God's wisdom, that all of us in positions of authority might find a way to come together with American solutions to confront and end this evil in our time.
Well, this as the White House weighs in on new gun regulations, including raising the legal age to purchase semi-automatic firearms from 18 to 21, banning the sale of bump stocks, and tightening background checks. Meanwhile, an NRA spokesperson says if legislators do change the law, well, then so-called abiding adults between the ages of 18 and 20 can't buy a gun. It would deprive those people of their constitutional rights. This is where we want to bring in the former spokeswoman for the America First Action group, Katrina Pierson. Katrina, not surprisingly, this has been a big issue at CPAC today. Tell us a little bit about what was your takeaway, how the crowd was receiving what Mike Pence had to say, and also Wayne LaPierre, who gave an important speech today as well.
Well, I think you're absolutely right that Wayne gave an amazing speech today, because really the question is about safety of our schools, really less about guns, even though in this case a gun was used. And you also see that the vice president and the president are looking at options to help and to assist these types of things to prevent them from happening. But I do think what we're dealing with now is a discussion that needs to be had, long overdue, about how we protect our children in schools. And Wayne also played a video from years ago where he had made some suggestions to help with that. We have a situation in our country where schools are spending a lot of money on administrative staff and not so much in the classroom, and that too needs to be revisited at the way that they're spending their money and their resources, which needs to go towards safety. It's unfortunate that we do have the media and the left who are really trying to capitalize on such an awful, awful tragedy. You know, as a mother, I can't even imagine what those families are going through. But unfortunately,
Katrina,
there
does seem to be a little bit of
it.
There does seem to be a little bit of difference between what President Trump talked about today and where the NRA stands. President Trump talked about raising the age required to buy these semi-automatic weapons, but the NRA says that's not going to happen. What was the crowd there at CPAC talking? Are these proposals that President Trump has laid on the table, are they popular with the crowd there?
I'm not so sure if they're popular among the crowd. I don't think that they took a poll or anything on that, but I will say these are just discussions that are being had. I think it's really important to distinguish the difference between an actual policy that's been put in place and having the discussion. President Trump has promised, even throughout the campaign, that he would be able to be flexible and listen and to propose things, but it's very, very different once you've had the discussion and, as Mike Pence said, come together in prayer and then make a decision. But it's very important to understand the needs and the concerns of many of those families out there that really aren't quite sure in the aftermath on how to deal with the issue. So I think an ongoing discussion is going to be had. The president is pushing that forward by talking about things like raising the age limit. But again, that's just a discussion. It's not a policy that's being put in place.
All right, we'll see what happens there. You know, you mentioned the way that the left, you said, is trying to capitalize on this. I don't know if it's actually calculated or if they just can't help themselves. But I want to focus on something particularly that Dana Lash said. She's an NRA spokesperson, and she had this to say about what type of reaction she expects from the media, and they're kind of falling in suit. Listen to Dana here.
Now I'm going to say something that some people are going to say is controversial. So I'll say it really slowly so all the people on the platform in the back can hear me loud and clear. Many in legacy media love mass shootings. You guys love it. Now, I'm not saying that you love the tragedy, but I am saying that you love the ratings. Crying white mothers are ratings gold.
There's Dana Lash. She really has a way to cut through all of the BS and get right to the heart of the point. You know, Katrina, I saw this immediately picked up by Twitter. Of course, they left out what she said prior to the statement she knows was going to make a lot of controversy, and the thing that she said afterwards, which provides some context for what she was saying. I mean, it's really unfortunate because you can't make a point like this in public anymore without people taking it out of context and using it against you, even though I think Dana made an excellent point there.
And it's true, because where is the constant 24-hour coverage of all of the black mothers crying in Chicago, where there are very strict gun rules, and we have children being shot to the tune of a war, in a sense? And where are the cameras? Where's the coverage? Where is the CNN town hall in Chicago to listen to those parents on what they think should be done? You never see that, and you never hear it. I think now's the time to do that.
Yeah, we talked about Wayne LaPierre and his comments a little bit earlier. I wanted to play a soundbite, too, because I wanted to speak a little bit more about this. Here is Wayne LaPierre taking, I don't want to say taking a shot, that's a poor choice of words there, but taking his critics on directly. Take a listen.
For them, it's not a safety issue. It's a political issue. They care more about control and more of it. Their goal is to eliminate the Second Amendment and our firearms freedoms so they can eradicate all individual freedoms.
Now, Katrina, I'm one who believes that the NRA does need to moderate a little bit on this issue, but what Wayne said right there is critically important, because for the anti-gun crowd, they're arguing against guns, but what Wayne is talking about is a constitutional right, something that's in the Bill of Rights that we possess as a country, and I don't think the left really understands what they're up against when it comes to that.
No, they don't really understand, because for a lot of them, the unsuspecting ones, it's just about a philosophy. They think if you can eliminate guns, you can eliminate gun crime, when my suggestion is, well, let's just make heroin illegal and maybe we'll save lives that way. There's just an inherent misunderstanding about how laws work, and Wayne makes a very good point. And I think the NRA should do a better job at talking about the absurdity that's, first of all, being unconstitutional, but then the absurdity of taking away guns is going to prevent crime, because you and I both know that's not true. If a kid decides he wants to go kill other kids, you can't really legislate that, but what you can do is prevent your child's school from becoming a target. We need to harden soft targets. That is the only way to protect your children, and even that isn't going to be 100% effective. And I tell you this, not just as a mom, not just as a concerned citizen, but as someone that spent 14 years in healthcare. I have managed an outpatient substance abuse and psychiatric practice. I was an operations administrator for neuroscience at a level 1 trauma hospital. We need to get serious about talking about mental health in this country.